It's almost here.
In motion is Patton. It's going to be that trap play to Garbarino up the middle. That's a 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45, 40, 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Big Elks! Cooper Garbarino, 77 yards.
We're closing in on the start of Big Elk football, which means Big Elk TV will be on the air before you know it.
Wynn and Garza are the running backs. Jones under center. Austin, snap, turn, hand off to Wynn. Jaden piles toward. It's a touchdown for the Big Elks.
You'll be able to watch and see if Coach Maynard's brown and white clad Elks can continue their winning ways.
Snap back, play action, lobs it toward the end zone. He's got a man. It's a touchdown for the Big Elks. Tucker Garza.
To get your business on the Big Elk TV screen, call 225-9696 or stop by our office at 220 South Pioneer.
If you build it, he will.
It's the Skinny on Sports Podcast with Aaron Cow.
I throw balls far. You want good words? Data language.
Talk real sports with a real man.
Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
And now, here's the be-all, end-all, know-it-all of high school, college, and pro sports. Aaron Skinny Cow with the Skinny on Sports.
We're talking about practice, man. I'm the MVP.
And a good Garrison Financial Friday out there, Western Oklahoma. Welcome to the Skinny on Sports, right here on 98.1 FM, the Sports Animal. Glad to have you along for the next hour. We're going to get into some NFL. We haven't talked a ton of NFL. I heard you say last hour on the other show that you watched a little preseason. I did too, with Houston and New England. I don't know that I've ever seen a quarterback get his helmet ripped off the way that Malik Cunningham, when he got face masked there at the end. Did you have you probably tuned out way before that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, that was pretty wild. You don't see the quarterback. That happened to the quarterback.
Well, that's how you get noticed in preseason.
So anyway, there's a list on ESPN. It's the best position groups. So it ranked by it went down through the entirety of the position groups and ranked them, and then who's got the best roster in the NFL. I thought that was really interesting. So we can look at that. I mentioned yesterday that 25 most important players for the college football playoff race. We'll talk about that. Who's not on there? By the way, OU has just announced their final 2 non-conference games for next season. That's been up in the air. That just dropped about 2 minutes ago. So we can tell you who that is. Playoff, how much is it going to have to change with the Pac-12's demise if they're not able to put something together? Is their seat at the table gone? And will that allow maybe a different structure to be put in place? We can go there. And then gambling. Did you read any of the Phil Mickelson stuff from the Billy Walters book that has just dropped?
No. I've seen my buddy's been chatting about it, but no, I haven't. Pretty wild.
Yeah. And then couple that with the state of Iowa. Are they going to end up having anybody play sports at Iowa or Iowa State? 4 more football players at Iowa State, some at Iowa.
Oh man!
And one actually possibly affects one of the state schools with the gambling issues that are there. You know, Hunter Deckers made headlines a couple weeks ago when he was kind of charged, and now there's been even more. So it looks like it's gonna. I think it's one of those things. It's going to be amazing once you find out how many of these guys and betting on their own teams, betting on games they played in.
That's a thing?
Yes. Yeah, that's
wow.
It's crazy. And I wonder what the line is in the sand between, hey, yeah, I took the Cyclones -3 versus like a daily fantasy game that you pay like $3 to play. Hey, yeah, we're playing so-and-so, and maybe Breece Hall's going to have a great day. So I'm going to put him in my life. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like when I hear betting and placing bets, I immediately think of what's the line, the over-under. But is that line skewed with daily fantasy games as well because of where those come from? With the DraftKings and the FanDuel, you have the ability to do all the different things with the same people.
Yeah.
Are there, so when you see betting on a game, does that mean, hey, yeah, it took us -3? Or does that mean I put a guy in to my daily fantasy lineup?
Some might say betting is betting.
I think those are two totally separate
as
things. As
innocent or as egregious as it could be, there might be is there a zero tolerance to this?
I think those are two totally separate things. But, I guess we can just hash it out. And then also, what happened 3 years ago today?
I'm horrible at this. 3 years ago, it was 2020.
3 years ago today, something happened.
The Big Ten said they're going to cancel their schedule.
That's exactly it.
Wow.
That's exactly it. The Big Ten tried to cancel college football, and the SEC said, I don't think so. 225-9698 is the phone or the text line. That is 225-9698. Give us a call, shoot us a text. We can talk about any of those things. Whatever else is on your mind, feel free to chime right in at 225-9698 if you're going to be outside the listening area. Stay in touch with the show a couple of different ways. Log on to kadsam.com. Download the app. The app's got it all. Radio, the Penny News. You can go pick up a free copy of the Penny News at your favorite local newsstands. Also, of course, Big Elk and Paragon TV. 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today, we're going to have Big Elk football down in Altus. We've already got softball on the air. They're in the Woodward tournament. I know they won the first game yesterday. They were ahead of Guyman in the second game. Efforting 4-0. Yep. Yeah, 6-0 against Guyman. Here's the thing. 4 games. Earn run average is 0. I'm not the smartest guy on softball. You do some coaching of it. Your kids play. But I will assure you of this. If you never give up a run, you're never going to lose.
Oh, yeah. 0 usually means something really, really good for one team and really, really bad for the other. In this case, it's really, really good for the Elk softball team.
Yeah, 11-0, 10-0, 13-0, 6-0 have been their wins. Play Moreland and Laverne today.
Has the question, are we alleviating any kind of being scared of picking up what the class in front of them left? Clearly they're keeping it going because there's a lot of holes to fill. Coach Murray was telling us just that a week ago, and it looks like they're going to keep this thing going.
Yeah, the one hole that there wasn't to fill was in the circle.
Well, when you got a 0 going on.
He mentioned JC Baker coming back. She hasn't really been healthy yet. Been trying to work her back in, but then Aubrey Pogue, who's just a sophomore, by the way. I mean, she got valuable experience a year ago as a freshman. And now, I mean, it's not as much as it used to, it was at one point, whereas back when softball started being televised, kind of, you remember from Hall of Fame Stadium with UCLA and then Arizona, it was so much more pitching dominant. It's like one person could almost control the whole thing in the circle. That's changed a little bit with, advanced hitting now versus what it was back then. But it's still, it gets you a whole long ways to have a really good pitcher, and it certainly looks like the Elkets have at least one of those, if not two, when JC gets back healthy. So now they're no doubt. It looks like they're just going to keep on rolling right along. And with her experience last year as a freshman, now as a sophomore, the one thing I noticed looking at box scores, last year she might strike out 7, but she might walk 3 or 4 or 5. This year it's strike out 10, walk none. Now, you don't know who they're playing yet, that'll the competition, but still, at least so far, it looks like that's improved as well. So, yeah, Coach Murray and the gals rolling so far early on in the season. How was your evening, Jared? What did you do last night?
Oh, it was great. Really, like I said, I had the games on, but it was pretty much on mute to listen to the girls tell us about their first day of school. And boy, did they tell us about everything. They were really excited. James was jumping off the wall, and Katie, she was exhausted. I figured it'd be the other way around. But, I mean, nothing. We just picked up the house. I mean, no practice, no games, no nothing. So, and that's what, well, nothing too crazy. Just tried to soak in the girls' first day of school. How about you?
I tried that ice cream.
Oh, that's right. What'd you think?
It tasted exactly like a Dr. Pepper float.
It does, doesn't it?
I mean, exactly like it. You would have, if you'd have just put that down in front of me, like blindfolded. Mm-hmm. That's. I would have thought it was a Dr. Pepper float. 100%. If you want to talk about authenticity of the product name, our friends at Bluebell got it 1,000,000,000% right. Without any shadow of a doubt. It tastes exactly like a Dr. Pepper float. It's delicious. It's very, very delicious. And it was pretty nice after mowing the yard.
Oh, yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah, it's perfect summer ice cream. Problem was they here we are at the end of summer. It's like they should have started releasing this stuff like in April.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say it's a perfect ice cream for all weather.
Well, yeah. I mean, what ice cream isn't?
It's very good.
It's very good. I hope that it's not limited time, you know, kind of like my key lime pie Kit Kats were that you can't find anymore. Those are great. So I hope that this stays around.
I do too.
I will probably be getting that pretty regularly.
But I wonder, what was it, 2021 maybe, a couple years ago? We went down to a surprise birthday party for one of Kara's friends in kind of Texas, north central Texas, I guess.
Okay.
And at the time, they had just released, it was called Texas Sheet Cake.
Oh, I remember you telling me, yeah.
I've never seen it here.
Never.
So I don't know if it is more of a regional type thing.
Yeah, I worried about that with the Dr. Pepper float, thinking it might not make it up here, but it did.
It did.
And
I was afraid it's going to be in Waco or Dublin.
Yeah.
Have to go down. Have you ever been there for a Dublin Dr. Pepper?
No.
It used to be a thing. Now they release like the real cane sugar Dr. Peppers.
Yeah,
got the green label.
Yeah, I can't.
That was kind of the Dublin Dr. Pepper.
Oh.
It was the real sugar.
Okay.
And there's definitely a difference in taste. To me, you can. I can spot it.
Okay. Oh, I've had the bottle, and it's too sweet.
It's sweeter, it's hard to believe that Dr. Pepper could get sweeter.
Yeah,
but it gets
to the point it's hurting my stomach. So like,
yeah, it can.
This is a lot of sugar.
Oh, sorry, Jared. Not you, Jared.
Oh, what?
Jared on the text line. By the time I got done mowing my yard, I thought I was going to pass out.
Oh yeah, see, I got to do that tonight. It's probably hotter tonight.
I couldn't make it down. I couldn't even drive my car down to the street to his house, much less push the mower down there. I was struggling. I lowered it down this time. Here's the thing. I got a new mower, B, a new yard. So I'm kind of trying to see what the best approach will be.
Yeah, you're learning your yard.
Kind of going into next year.
Yeah.
So I've been mowing it. So I've knocked it down a notch, which seems like the wrong time to do that. But, we we've started watering the yard, figured out how to do that. And, it got a little bit of rain the night before. So I thought, it'd be fine. I know it's going to be 105, but surely it can survive one time, Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, that grass is way thicker than I realized. And it doesn't look like a giant hill in the front of the yard. Now, the side yard, you can tell it's a hill from where the backyard is down to the alley. But as thick as that grass was, of course, and then kind of get it stuck. Dude, I didn't know if I was going to make it.
Yeah. Ugh. So you push it. You don't have a self-propelled.
No, it's push. No, it's
you got to muscle this
flat out pusher.
Do you bag it?
No.
Can you imagine pushing and bagging?
No, I'd still be there. Because it was a little bit taller than it has been. It'd been probably a week and a half since I'd mowed instead of normally once a week, once every 5 days or what have you. But as it's gotten hotter, the grass hadn't grown as fast.
No.
Anyhow, yeah, it was a struggle there the last couple of – because I try to mow it a different way. Do you do that? Mow it a different direction each time?
You're supposed to. I don't do it as much.
I try to. And so last night was just kind of up, back and forth, like up the hill and down the hill, up the hump and down, you know. And by the time you got over there, holy cow, I was struggling. I was wanting the deck to be about 60 inches instead of 25 or whatever it is, because I was ready to yeah, I can't bag mine either. It takes 6 hours. He's exactly right. And you know, that's what I noticed too.
Bagging's a team job because you need somebody to go haul off the clippings. Like, you need like 2 bags. I remember when I mowed lawns growing up, and that was what we do. Is like, and I go, hey, come here, and give him the bag. He'd give me another one. He'd haul it off, go dump it. Come, you know, that way you can keep going.
I can remember doing that as a kid, having the extra bag. Mm-hmm. This one's done, or sometimes, depending on when it was in the summer, if it was hot, you know, maybe that was, you know, beer break for Chuck.
Yeah.
Why don't you run and throw that away in the dumpster, and I'll get a sip of cold beer while you're doing that.
My next mower will have a bag attachment. My next mower will, it's going to be ZTR, and but this mower I'm riding around now, it won't break down, the dang thing. It keeps going. But because there's total benefits to it, you know, when you're fighting weeds and stickers, if you can just get that completely out instead of mulching it and spreading it, if you can get that out and dump, you know, and then when you scalp too. But yeah, I eventually have to do that, or I kind of want to, but I will not push it. My lawn's too big to push, man. It's too big.
Yeah, yours is a little different story.
Yeah, I need a riding mower.
Where we used to live, there was no way I could push it.
Yeah.
Now, you know.
Although I like the idea of pushing. You got more control with your striping and get closer if you need to.
Yeah.
You got more control with it. But my lawn's just too big for that. I have to ride.
You don't have to.
If I have a Z, you don't have to, but.
I would if I was you.
Yes.
I'm not looking down upon you whatsoever.
But my next mower will be a ZTR where I can have a little bit more control. Right now I ride this Craftsman mower that's pushing 12, 13 years old.
Do you have an edger? An actual edger, or you just use
I use it with my weed eater.
Yeah.
It has the ability to have the attachment. And funny you say that.
Where you roll it?
Yeah, funny you say that. I thought about just this morning when I'm plotting my plan to mow the lawn, I thought, you know, maybe this time of year Walmart will have those attachments on sale or something. Because it's easier to just put it right. You know what I'm talking about, that attachment that you can edge your lawn with. I need to go check it out.
I just got a text. I can't say this on the air, but
thanks, Scott, on our text line.
Use your
2 old men on the park bench talking about grass.
Basically, what the text said is use your weed eater
to edge.
Yes, edgers are for weenies.
Oh, okay. Well, now I'm really gonna go get one just out of spite.
Yeah.
I'm glad they're brave enough to text you and not.
Scott
the
was telling
line.
me about this. He sprayed. There's a certain you can easily spot this type of grass that he was trying to kill, and he's knocked it back for sure. There's still a few little spots where it's, you know, and it grows faster and it's big.
Yeah.
He told me what it was. I can't remember what it was called, but what he did definitely helped it. But there's still, you can see where it could take over because it just grows so fast, so much faster than the Bermuda.
Yeah.
I wonder if we can just pull that out of there.
When all else fails, just dig it out, I guess.
Just hoe it up.
Yeah.
I just don't want a big old dirt spot in the yard.
Yeah, you'd have to have some filler too.
Yeah.
I've done that.
Well, I've got seed.
Oh, there you go.
Goosegrass. Pull it.
Goosegrass. I'm going to Google that one up.
Yeah, that may be the next. I have to have the hoe out to get some of those out of there. But it's right along the fence in the backyard, so nobody can see it anyway. It doesn't really matter. There's just one little spot in the front where it's got it. But
yeah, look at the pictures. I know what he's talking about.
You know what it is. Yeah,
oh, yeah,
you've seen it.
You've seen it. Good stuff. Yeah, hey, we'll be at the Big Oak Stadium tomorrow.
We will. Media Day. It'd be exciting to see. It's kind of everybody there at one time. Coach Maynard told us about the numbers that they're up, which makes sense. Not only it seems like if you're good and you have some success, numbers kind of creep up as that goes along. How weird is it to think about, with the guys that are on after us and out throughout the day, the big deal, their 25 years is coming up next Thursday. You know what? I remember the first time I found that station. It was my senior year of high school. After a football practice, flipping through and went to the AM, and I'm like, what is this? I didn't even know it existed,
Yeah.
But we haven't been doing it near that long, but we've been a decent amount here. And then seeing that Big Ten story today and thinking back to how weird this job and any job, but how weird it was to do this one from March 11th, was that the Thunder Day when everything closed down?
Oh yeah, 3/11, yeah.
Until the bubble returned, I guess. Or baseball. I guess baseball probably came back first. There was a 5-6 month period there where it was, and the Big Ten. It's funny that popped up with all this realignment stuff going on. Because what came after the Big Ten announced that it was canceling its college football season, then all of a sudden that blew into the alliance between the Big Ten and the Pac-12 that then blew into the Big Ten crushing the Pac-12 soul and taking it away.
That's true. All in a span of 3 years. That is funny. How much credit the SEC gets for
all of it,
keeping college football alive?
Every bit of it. Greg Sankey, and to a way lesser extent, Bob Bowlesby. But it was funny to see the split, though. And it was geographically, I think it was mindset-wise, culturally. The South was all for playing, and the North was all for not. And I think it breaks along ideological, barriers. And when you go, I think it doesn't have to be football. It doesn't have to just be sports. It could be just about anything in that time. The ones that were scared to death were in one part of the country. The ones that were ready to get back to normal were in the other. And it just so happens that those allegiances from college football ran right along those same lines of life, Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Korean baseball, watching all, I remember watching that stuff, and they had and then, of course, in the bubble, you could get like a figurine to look like fans, and it was just how crazy everything ended up being.
It was stupid. All of it was stupid. The fan cutouts, stupid. What else they do? You could the basketball, you could zoom in. You could get a Zoom ticket.
Yeah. And
have a camera on your face while you watch the game, and they'll put it in the bubble stadium. It was all stupid. It made me very angry. I was like, this is so dumb. It made me turn it off. It was dumb. I will never forget the day I felt like, okay, we're on our way back to normal sports. And that was, I don't remember the tournament. I don't remember who won. It was a golf tournament, and there was a huge crowd around the 18th green. And the dude won it, and the people cheered, and it felt like pre-COVID. And I was like, all right, we're on our way back. On our way back to crowds in stands. And none of this stupid Zoom calls, fans, cutouts, all that stuff. Fake fans being piped in on the speakers. Give me a break. It was all dumb. Because we were all scared. No, not all of us. Anyways, I'm done. What tournament was that? Do you remember that? I'd have to look it up. I don't even know if it wasn't a major. It was just a golf tournament.
I mean, I remember there being, it was the PGA in 2021 out at Harding Park in San Francisco, where they weren't there necessarily, but they were outside of the gates yelling in.
I remember that.
You know, there was a bunch of that stuff. I mean, I feel like you had to get to.
I'm going to effort that. I'm going to find out what that was, when that was.
I mean, you have to get to win. The entirety of the 21-22 NBA season was played without fans, right?
Yeah, when they got out of the bubble.
Or so that had been 2021 year. Because bubble was 19-20. Yeah, 20 and 21. So by the time we got to 21-22, it was back to normal. But I think there was tons of events early 21 that didn't have anybody there, or very limited. Am I thinking right? Or by the time 21 came around, college football played in 2020.
It played.
That's when there wasn't anybody there, or very limited fans. Was the football season. So here's the deal. By the time we got to football in 2021, it was normal. That makes sense?
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
It was back to normal.
Yeah.
By the time we got there.
All right, here we go.
So fall of 21, we were back to normal.
I had this picture, and I took it. It was May 23rd, 2021. So what golf tournament would have been playing? And Mickelson won it.
That was the PGA. PGA at Kiowa Island.
The crowd was massive around the 18th.
Okay.
I mean, they were shoulder to shoulder. It was massive. And that's when I was like, all right, we're on our way back.
Okay, so Morikawa, he would have won the PGA in 2020 then. Well, the Masters was played in November. Yeah, the schedule was all messed up. That's what it was. The schedule was all messed up. They had to move stuff around. British Open didn't even play. British Open in Wimbledon. They never rescheduled, right?
Yeah, Mickelson won it.
Yeah, 2021. That was PGA at Kiowa.
Yeah. Oosthuizen, Koepka tied for second.
So maybe by that time, by spring
But
of 21.
He won it on the 18th, I think.
Yeah, he whipped them.
6 under, and then
He won by 2 or 3 shots.
I think it's 2.
Anyway, that's one of those anniversaries that you don't really want to remember. And it's funny because the tweet that I saw was just a screenshot of an article written by Dennis Dodd. And think back to the ridiculous crap that him and some other guys wrote. He literally wrote articles saying that if college football was on the field, kids would die.
Yeah, he's an idiot.
So here's my question for you, Dennis Dodd.
Where's your? Yeah.
You might have been right, but it wasn't for the reasons you thought you were right.
Yep.
I don't see that article being written right now with people of really young athletes in good shape dying suddenly. Where's your article about dying, Dennis Dodd?
Yeah, what about Bronny?
We'll be back.
Hello, my name is Scott Garrison. You may remember me as Scott the Barber or just as Ron and Carla's son. I've been involved in our community since opening Scott's Barbershop on the southeast corner of 3rd and Main in 1998. Now I'm back in the same building as Garrison Financial. I started investing in my 20s. I invested through the dot-com crash and the Great Recession. I started caring for other people's money in 2018, and I truly enjoy sitting down with my clients, understanding their wants and needs as well as what keeps them up at night. Whether my friends just want me to invest a little of their savings or want me to work with their tax and legal professionals to strive towards optimal efficiency, we can do it all. I believe communication is key to helping my clients reach their goals. For if we are faithful over a few things, we shall be given more. Contact me at scott@soonerwealth.com. Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research, Inc., a broker-dealer member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services offered through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Garrison Financial and Cambridge are not affiliated. This communication is strictly intended for individuals residing in the states of Colorado, Nevada, Oklahoma, and Texas. No offers may be made or accepted from any resident outside the specific states referenced. Cambridge does not offer tax and legal advice.
The Skinny on Sports.
Well, Welcome back, Skinny on Sports, 98.1 FM, the Sports Animal. It is a Garrison Financial Friday. Scott had some meetings set up this morning, so he was unable to visit with us. But at Garrison Financial, he is a full financial planner. He'll shop the open market to bring you the best value on your life insurance and your investments. Scott at SoonerWealth.com is his email address. 124 North Main is the physical location of Garrison Financial. Appreciate Scott's being on with us on every Garrison Financial Friday that he can. He kind of brings a little something different to the show each and every time. All right, Jared, what do you want to talk about? We got NFL, we got college football. We can talk about betting. Where you at?
I'm interested in this news that just broke right before we went on about OU and their non-con opponents for next year.
Yeah, so 2024, and moving into the SEC, the rules change just a little bit in that you have to have a Power 5 team in your non-conference schedule. And when I saw this, I thought, how did they get away from that? Because of who the teams are. And then I realized, hey, dummy, that team's in the Big 12 now. And so the two teams are Houston and Maine, which means Joe Castiglione and the OU Brass has already adopted, they already feel like an SEC team because it'll be 7 home games, not counting the Texas game, which would be classified as a home game, I think, next year. But anyway, seven games in Norman next year in the first year of OU as an SEC member.
Will the Maine game, or the state of Maine, the Bears, are they the Bears? Will that be a November game, Like that traditional non-con game for the SEC that's in November? Do you think one of those, or Tulane or Temple, or one of those go into November?
No.
Or does the schedule work out like that? I could see OU opening with, say, Temple and then hosting Alabama or Tennessee or South Carolina in week 2.
Yeah, I think a bunch of people believe South Carolina will be here week 2.
But I wonder how this new
Houston will be Saturday, September 7th.
Oh, they already got a date for it.
Mm-hmm. The Maine game, yeah, you may be right here because it says the game against Maine will be determined. The date will be determined once OU's inaugural SEC schedule is finalized. So that tells me yes. So here's probably the two scenarios. Does September 7th happen to be Labor Day weekend next year? I bet it does, because if the 7th is a Saturday, that'll be the first weekend of September.
It is.
So I will bet you the two choices for that Maine game will either be September 14th, week 2, or that November spot, depending on how the SEC schedule shakes out for Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
I will bet you are 100% correct in that. Yeah, like November third week of November, the weekend before the Thanksgiving week or whatever, the Thanksgiving weekend or weekend before that. I bet that's right.
So what do you think?
Temple's August 31st.
Wait a minute, that is the Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, that is
because the first Monday is.
So Houston's week, actually Tulane's week 3. So never mind. Blow that out of the water. I scrolled down just a little further and saw these dates. So to go Temple, Houston, Tulane, first SEC game. And I would assume then that you're right, Maine will be sometime in November.
So 4 home games in a row. Not a bad start.
3 in a row, depending on when the first SEC game is.
Oh, but okay.
And that's
but
where
a lot of people think that
a lot of people think it's going to be Alabama.
So
here.
So the 21st, potentially Alabama coming to Norman.
A lot of people think it's going to be Alabama.
Way to start your year in the SEC. Could be fun. Depending on what kind of defense OU has built by then, and we'll know a lot after this year what kind of offense Alabama will have. They'll have a lot of returning offensive players. That'll be fun. You like it? You like Houston? You think somebody
I think it makes perfect sense.
that was a former G5 school and now this fits the criteria? You don't want to start with a Kansas State or somebody or an Oregon. You want to start with somebody that's very beatable, and before you go into the rigors of the SEC. Yeah, I see it. I
mean, unfortunately, I think the days of scheduling Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, I get they're in conference now, but what I'm saying is, we've seen those games with the Oregons, the Washingtons, Florida State, whoever else, go down the list. I mean, Joe Castiglione has had a clear scheduling philosophy with the non-conference, and that is one team that's terrible, one team that's okay, and one team that's marquee. And unless, to me, the main problem with college football is you get those weeks where you look around and go, where are the good games? It seems like it happens about twice a year.
You're scrolling,
where it's just like, that's the best one.
Game? Yeah.
And with the amount of money that the networks are paying these conferences to generate content, I think if it's up to the networks, maybe you do get to see some of those games continue. And I also think everyone's probably in a little bit of a wait-and-see kind of pattern with what happens with the 12-team playoff and how that looks. I think if Oklahoma was still in the Big 12, even an improved Big 12, I think you would see those games because you have that seat at the table as the conference champ waiting on you. Mm-hmm. And historically, Oklahoma's, they won half of the Big 12 titles in its history, basically. So every other year, that you got a great chance of being in, and if not able to win the conference, maybe even still right there close. I think that's going to be a wait-and-see approach when you go to this new league, go to the SEC, and just how it's all set up. And so that's something I've got written down. How do you think – because what was it? It was the top 6 conference champions in the playoff poll got a spot, and then it was going to be 6 at-large spots from there.
A lot of times the conference runner-ups, depending on what their record looked like, going into that conference champ game.
So how do you think that changes?
Yeah.
How do you think that changes with the Pac-12 really not being do you think there's any way it stays the way it is?
No, they're gonna have to alter it. I don't know though. I just don't know. I feel like you've seen that Charlie Day meme where has a bunch of lines and and his hair is all frizzled, his sleeves rolled up, and he's like a conspiracy theorist. I'd have to map it out. Conference champs, obviously.
Why? And which conferences?
Well, the Big Ten, SEC.
In theory, it didn't guarantee any conference a spot.
16 spots. Well, why would
12.
12 spots. Why did I say 16? Because in my mind, earlier in the week, I think with these super conferences, you got to expand to 16. Yeah, 12. When you got, it just seems natural. Almost kind of like a basketball model. You win a conference, you get an automatic bid. Doesn't mean you get a number 1 bid or number 1 seed, but you get an automatic bid. So there would be, and then and they're gonna have to change it because they don't know what's gonna happen with the remaining 4 teams out of the Pac-12. You can't say, okay, they're gonna play a 4-team conference and give them a spot just for winning a 4-team league.
Yeah,
kind of goes back to the OK Kids thing.
Yeah, that's not happening.
That's not happening. But I have no idea. how they change it up.
I think the easy fix is just to take away one of those slots that you had built in for instead of the top 6 conference champs in the rankings, it would just be 5 because you literally took a conference away. Depending on what happens with the remainder of those Pac-12 teams by the time we get there. I wonder, because Greg Sankey had mentioned there needing to be an adjustment to this. What have we seen? If we've seen anything since COVID and this summer, when it comes to the administration of college football, I think we've seen an even bigger line of demarcation between the haves and the have-nots. And so I would love – he's not going to do it publicly, I'm just sure, but I wonder if Greg Sankey is already of the mindset, let's do away with it all as far as securing automatic bids for leagues. And let's just put the top 12 in the final college football committee poll in the playoff, because that does nothing but benefit the SEC and the Big Ten. Because right now, in the 12-team playoff model, the way it was, you really kind of limited each of those conferences to, 4 max? With the conference champ, and then maybe 3 of the 6 automatic bids, or I'm sorry, at-large bids. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You kind of limited to where if somebody got 4, that was going to be pretty substantial. But if you get to top 12, just whatever the poll says, all of a sudden you might see 5. Maybe on a crazy year, you might even see 6 out of one of those 2 leagues. So
I like the idea of just where the top 12 finishes, seed them up.
I do too.
1 through 4 get a bye, and so on and so on.
I mean, I did like the way that they. I mean, yeah, it was hard to imagine a year in which, say, the Big Ten or the SEC, their champion wasn't going to be in the top, one of the best, the top 6 conferences. But what would happen if a crazy, Northwestern beating Ohio State a couple of years ago in the Big Ten with the 2020 season? What would happen then? If a 7-5 division champ somehow weaseled their way in and then won that game. Well, the undefeated team or whatever, they'd still get an at-large. But, that was a way to at least not guarantee somebody a spot and keep that from happening. At the same time, it's hard to imagine that either one of those conferences wouldn't have had, even in that situation, they probably still would have been in the top 6 of conference champs. And I think it as much as the allure of the college basketball tournament is the little guy versus the big guy, what did we talk about once we got to the Final Four this year? Nobody's watching because nobody gives a crap about the little guy when it really comes down to it.
Yep.
And that's the one thing college football has always been able to steer clear of.
They find the 4 best
2,
teams.
4, whatever it's
now,
been.
what were the ratings like for TCU and Georgia?
Probably not as good as it was for Alabama and Clemson.
Sorry, TCU, but that's the truth.
It is the truth.
It's everybody, including us, were like, this is going to be a bloodbath, and it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you probably want to measure that in the first 2 minutes of that game, because the writing was on the wall pretty quick after that. And I guess that's probably the closest we've seen to some. But at the same time, it wasn't like TCU was Boise State.
No,
TCU went through and won one of the best conferences in the country,
right,
and then beat Michigan.
The
Big Ten, you know what I'm saying? So,
but that kept my interest for about a half of the first quarter. Okay, this is clear.
Yeah, then it was like, ouch.
Yeah. Sorry, TCU, your run is done.
I think it's good for me.
But if there's if you get into a playoff and a Final Four for the college football and it's TCU and say, I don't know, what like a Houston or give me someone else, Cincinnati, Central Florida, Boise State. That's the biggest fear, I think, for the committee.
Yeah, and the way to keep that from happening is not even let them get in the top 12. It's pretty obvious that's the way to do it. But I think there's going to be some sort of conference. I just think there will be. Because I do believe that it keeps more people interested for longer. Mm-hmm. If you win your conference, one of the top 4 conferences right now, that you're going to get a seat at the table in the playoff. I think they'll keep that component to it, even though I wouldn't, because I just rather see the 12 best go. But I do think there's going to be a little bit of that sneaking in, and like we saw with Cincinnati, okay, here you go, you made the top 4, you get your chance, and they obviously didn't belong anywhere near that game with Alabama. A couple of years ago. As much as everybody was kind of hoping to see something, college football isn't college basketball. And that's just the way that went. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll wrap up Garrison Financial Friday with some NFL position group rankings. For me, I thought this was fascinating to rank all the different position groups, 1 through 32, and then compile all those rankings into a who has the best roster. Talk about it next. Wrapping up a Garrison Financial Friday on the Skinny on Sports.
Hello, my name is Scott Garrison. You may remember me as Scott the Barber or just as Ron and Carla's son. I've been involved in our community since opening Scott's Barbershop on the southeast corner of 3rd and Main in 1998. Now I'm back in the same building as Garrison Financial. I started investing in my 20s. I invested through the dot-com crash and the Great Recession. I started caring for other people's money in 2018, and I truly enjoy sitting down with my clients, understanding their wants and needs as well as what keeps them up at night. Whether my friends just want me to invest a little of their savings or want me to work with their tax and legal professionals to strive towards optimal efficiency, we can do it all. I believe communication is key to helping my clients reach their goals. For if we are faithful over a few things, we shall be given more. Contact me at scott@soonerwealth.com. Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research, Inc., a broker-dealer member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services offered through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Garrison Financial and Cambridge are not affiliated. This communication is strictly intended for individuals residing in the states of Colorado, Nevada, Oklahoma, and Texas. No offers may be made or accepted from any resident outside the specific states referenced. Cambridge does not offer tax and legal advice.
The Skinny on Sports.
Welcome back, Skinny on Sports, 98.1 FM, the Sports Animal. Wrapping up a Garrison Financial Friday. Thank you to Scotty G at Garrison Financial. Scott@SoonerWealth.com is his address. Email address. 124 is the physical address. 124 North Main Street in Elk City. Man, he does it all. He can. There's certain people, Jared, that like to watch the market, what it's doing. Mm-hmm. And if that's something you'd like to do, but you're just not sure how to get that started, he can actually charge you hourly to build a plan, but then you can dabble and you can manage it yourself once it gets going, or you can just manage all your stuff investment-wise. He works with your accountants to streamline all the tax stuff, all the returns, all the ramifications for making a certain move. He'll work with your accountants as a team to make sure everything's flowing the way that it needs to help you out in the best way. The volatile market that is kind of our reality right now. Scott@SoonerWealth.com. Garrison Financial is Scott's business. All right, Jared, position groups in the NFL. I thought this was really cool list compiled by Mike Clay, ESPN writer.
Okay.
And he went 1 through 32 at each position group throughout the team. Well, he didn't do kickers and punters. So if I said, okay, Jared, who has the best quarterback room in the NFL, who would you say?
Kansas City.
That's
room.
Exactly what he said. Kansas. Well, I mean, you're basically saying who's the best quarterback in the league.
Yeah, I thought it was a trick question. Like, okay, who's with Patrick Mahomes? I don't even know who his backup is.
Blaine Gabbert.
And it's still Kansas City, huh?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's how good Patrick Mahomes is.
I mean, one could argue Dallas, not because of Dak, but because of his backup.
You clearly haven't been watching TV this training camp season, have you, Jared? Dak Prescott is the worst quarterback in the league. Just listen. All you got to do is listen to any show on ESPN, and they'll tell you that.
Every year he's the worst quarterback in the league.
It's even worse right now. The Dak hate is in overdrive. So, yeah, Kansas City, Buffalo 2, Cincinnati 3, Philly 4, which I started getting into that yesterday. Come on, man. You're really telling me Jalen Hurts is better than Justin Herbert?
They are. There's a lot of weight, I guess, going to the Super Bowl, win the NFC.
Which that's true. I mean, look at that roster.
Again, I've said I want to see it again.
Here's where I'll show you I'm right. Coming up in just a second. So that was quarterbacks. It had the worst as Washington. I'll be honest with you. There's a sneaky team that I might have in the running for worst, and especially if he can't be healthy, and that's Arizona. If Kyler can't be healthy, that's a bad spot. They're in a bad spot. Unit to watch, and Kenny Pickett in Pittsburgh could be better. Running backs. Who do you think's got the best running backs in the league?
God, with that, a lot of change. New York Giants.
Giants are 10th.
Oh, wow. I was way off.
This has the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey, Elijah Mitchell, Kyle Juszczyk. Number 2 is one that 2 and 3. I think number 2 is the answer. And they have number 2 is Atlanta.
Who's one? I'm sorry. Who's one?
San Francisco.
That's right. Where's Tennessee?
Tennessee's 4th. Detroit in the middle there at 3. They drafted Jamar Gibbs. David Montgomery has been at the Bears.
Yeah. So what's up with Atlanta?
Bijan, Tyler Algiers. What's his name? That does Cordero Patterson. They're the leading rushing team in the league last year. And if Bijan is good as a lot of people think Bijan, I think that's where your answer is. Just because they got like a 3-headed, really good monster. Wide receivers?
Eagles.
Eagles are 4th.
Rams.
Rams are nowhere to be found.
For Cup, but I heard Cup's injured. I don't know. Who's it?
Cincinnati.
Oh, okay.
Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd.
Where's Minnesota?
Minnesota 9th. With they basically replaced Adam Thielen with Jordan Addison. Obviously, Justin Jefferson there. Seattle number 2. Watch out. Watch out. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and then Jackson Smith and Jigba, the rookie from Ohio State. Good to see that high. And, of course, Miami, I think a lot of people would say Miami when you first asked this question because of Waddle and Tyreek.
Yeah.
Tight ends?
Kansas City.
Kansas City is the answer. Baltimore right behind with Mark Andrews. Atlanta is one that says to watch out for. Kyle Pitts and Jonnu Smith. O-line?
Kansas City.
Philly.
Oh, they got a good one.
Philly. So if you're keeping score at home, Philly has the number 11 tight ends, the best offensive line, the 4th best receivers, and supposedly the 4th best quarterback. Running back, which is the most – it's their worst at 20, but guess what? Running back is also such a devalued position that it doesn't even really bother you that much when you're there, right? Interior defensive line.
Interior. It'd be a crapshoot for me. I don't
Giants.
know. Giants.
Yeah. Leonard Williams, A'Shaun Robinson, Dexter Lawrence. That's a good one. There's no doubt about it. Guys on the edge rushers.
Washington.
See, I thought about Washington also. They're number 9. I think Chase Young's health is a big part of that.
Yeah, he was
They've
out.
got Pittsburgh
Okay.
with Watt and Highsmith, DeMarvin Leal that they drafted. That's probably, I mean, that's a good one. Off-ball linebackers, they have San Francisco with Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw. Corners.
Dallas.
Dallas is 4th. We've got Jets. Sauce.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Philly's 2 there. Buffalo, the best safety. So after you kind of hear some different names with all the position groups, who do you think they have as the best roster in the NFL?
I keep hearing the Eagles.
Philly. Philly is the best roster according to this list. And I think most people would agree. But that's also where, yeah. I mean, I don't know why it struck me as so odd or just like, what? And yeah, and he was awesome in the Super Bowl. He was awesome all year last year. But to have Jalen Hurts as the 3rd best player in the NFL in that list of top 100 was just craziness to me. And I know that list is kind of a year-by-year thing, and so there's a lot of prisoner of the moment in those rankings.
I try not to fall into that. That's why I keep saying I want to see it again. Show me again.
Here, and he's going to he better be. Because of what they paid him. Because what's going to happen? What do you see? 6 or 7 starters off that defense gone? Why? Well, they paid him $52 million a year. And we have seen such a trend in the NFL. I started with probably Russell Wilson. When Russell Wilson came out of nowhere as a 3rd or 4th round pick to be the quarterback of a loaded Eagles roster. And Super Bowls followed. Until when? Russell Wilson got paid.
Yeah,
then
you
what
see that a lot.
happened? I mean, it happens over and over and over unless you're basically one of 2 guys right now. Unless your name was Tom Brady or Pat Mahomes. And no offense to Jalen Hurts, but I don't think there's any way in the world that he's either one of those guys. So what he's done has been amazing. But I also think that this happened so fast. Like the Eagles did this so fast that in the long run, going to go, dang. He was more of a Lamar Jackson than Patrick Mahomes. Dang.
Yeah, that's
and it's just
the
beginning.
risk, but the risk also is losing him and not paying him because of the fear of that, and then losing him. You see what I'm saying? So they're just thinking, let's just get way ahead of it. Let's roll the dice
and
see what we got.
Dylan's right. What else is something that's that Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes have in common?
Super Bowls?
They took less.
They did take less.
They took less. We all just like our minds were spinning a couple years back when the Mahomes contract, 10 years, $500 million. He's already like only the 6th highest paid quarterback in the league. As the market keeps jumping, that'll go up, and he'll move down another spot as soon as Joe Burrow gets signed. That's why I think it's pretty funny when you hear, you can't pay Dak Prescott. Dak's like the 10th highest paid quarterback in the league. He looks like a bargain at $40 million. Yeah. You know what I mean? He's literally paid in the slot that people think he is. He's not overpaid. He's not underpaid. People think he's a top 10 quarterback. Guess what? He's top 10 paid. That's what drives me crazy. I'm ready for the games to start in the NFL, almost worse than college, just to see.
Yeah, I've been looking into the red zone.
Exactly what happens.
Like the TV channel, red zone.
Who do you think has the second best roster?
Kansas City.
No, not according to this. Kansas City was actually 7th.
That's interesting. Second best roster.
Think 1 year ago,
Cincinnati.
they were 8th. Think 1 year ago going into the season, who was everybody's darling pick to make the Super Bowl out of the AFC?
The Bills?
The Bills. The Bills are number 2. Chargers 3, and the Dallas Cowboys number 4.
But they got the worst quarterback. That doesn't make sense.
The rest of the team's going to have to pick up the slack.
They just figure out that dang quarterback situation.
They have it figured out, Jared. Just play Cooper Rush.
That's what I'm getting at.
Just play Cooper Rush.
That's what I'm getting at as far as quarterback room. Overall, it's not a bad deal.
Anyway.
Can't play Dak, though. You can't play Dak.
Everybody have a great weekend. May have some nuggets for high school football on Monday. It's been a Garrison Financial Friday. Thanks to Scott. We will see you next week.
You've been listening to the Skinny on Sports podcast with Aaron Cow. Be sure to hit that subscribe button to get alerts of when the latest podcast is available. Thanks for listening.
That ball is blistered to right. Way back. Goodbye.
It's almost here.
In motion is Patton. It's going to be that trap play to Garbarino up the middle. That's a 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45, 40, 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Big Elks. Cooper Garbarino, 77 yards.
We're closing in on the start of Big Elk football, which means Big Elk TV will be on the air before you know it.
Wynn and Garza are the running backs. Jones under center. Austin, snap, turn, hand off to Wynn. Jaden piles toward. It's a touchdown for the Big Elks.
You'll be able to watch and see if Coach Maynard's brown and white-clad Elks can continue their winning ways.
Snap back, play action, lobs it toward the end zone. He's got a man. It's a touchdown for the Big Elks. Tucker Garza.
To get your business on the Big Elk TV screen, call 225-9696 or stop by our office at 220 South Pioneer.